computer. There we go, we're recording. Okay, hi everyone, a huge welcome. Super excited for these. Just to give you a really quick overview of like what the vision for these is. Basically, we had some conversations about doing something for lead consultants and above, and we thought, why not all come together and create a leaders lounge, something that is exclusive for you guys that are lead consultants, star consultants, superstar consultants, directors, director Q, star directors, superstar directors. It really doesn't matter what your title, as long as you're a lead and above, you are welcomed here with open arms. And it's a little exclusive that's just for you with some leadership training monthly. And hopefully the plan is to bring you some different leaders each month for you to tune into. The date will just have to fit around when those leaders can do. There won't be like a set like week or anything like that. Not at the moment anyway. It may fall that way. And the idea will be it's just an opportunity for us just to all come together and share some ideas and to build everybody's confidence in what we're doing right now and really to help move your businesses forward. We want to give you all of our tools, all of our expertise. I know that there are lots of you in here that are watching that have got phenomenal ideas. So we might be calling on some of you guys to come and share in the coming weeks. And the plan is to hopefully have you off here nice and quickly, but within like 40 minutes. It's quick, it's sharp, it's snappy, and so that you come away from this and you're like, do you know what? I'm empowered and I'm ready to go, and I can't wait for this for the following month. So that's the vision behind it, and I've got some phenomenal leaders who volunteered their time first of all. So I am going to hand it over to the wonderful Joanne Davidson. I'm excited to be working alongside you girls for tonight as well. So let's go.
Hey everyone, can you hear me okay, Lisa? Hello, hello. I suppose for a lot of us, especially with teams, right now you might be feeling as if maybe you've lost some teamies, or maybe that you're looking at things as if you're taking a step backwards. It's very often common to feel this way. And those of you that are familiar with my journey, I've told it a few times, I've had some phenomenal steps backwards to go forwards again. And I want to reassure you, if you are feeling that way right now, you're not alone and you don't panic. And I want to reassure you, there is so much at this moment in time that is going to strengthen you, even if it doesn't feel it. So right now, if you feel your business is a little bit slower, or you feel that need for growth or renewal, I want you to pause right now for a moment and let's reevaluate. I often describe Sensi like a buffet. We lay this vast table with all it can offer, but those coming to the table are all going to have different appetites, and we cannot dictate anyone's appetite. Some will come and nibble, some will stay for the duration. The only thing we can constantly do is put chairs at the table and allow people that opportunity. So if people leave, I want you to remember it is nothing you have done. It is no reflection on you. It is simply down to their appetite at that moment in time in their life. And all we can do is keep putting more chairs and filling those seats. Because often what feels like going backwards is something very different. You're not retreating, you're actually reinforcing. You're strengthening the foundations with something you didn't have before. You're building new experiences of how to overcome challenge. Because the first time we go into this, we're driven by excitement and energy, ambition, and often we can make these big giant leaps. We trust instincts and we just go for it, and we'll say we'll learn as we go. But the reality is, none of us, no matter how long you're in this, gets it right first time. There are pitfalls we can't see and pressures that we didn't realise, and often pressures we put on ourselves. And the lessons that come from being in the arena, so to speak, you only appreciate those as you go through the journey. Now, at times I've fallen and skinned my knees big time and wondered if I could go on. But I've also realised through this journey, in my darkest moments, the thing that held me back most was me, because there was always something I could do if I searched enough. So when things get tough and you think the ground is slipping beneath you, I want you to understand this. In this business, what's actually happening is you're learning where you need to build stronger. Because every challenge you face at this moment in time is going to bring you something valuable. And here's the great thing, you now have the benefit of hindsight and experience. You're now going to see the issues earlier. You're going to see distractions faster because you know what they are, and you know squirreling can be a danger to your head. You understand what free time you have and where your energy has to lie and has to matter. And you know what drains you and what drives you. You know the difference between movement but meaningful progress. And that knowledge is power. That's something you've got in your toolbox right now, which is bigger and better than anything you ever had before. So this time, any challenge you face right now at this moment, I want you to remember this. You're not building from scratch. You're building now with insight, with awareness, with resilience, and that means you can create far deeper roots than you ever did before. Any business round about you right now, with the world we live in and how fast it's changing, even on a worldwide scale, and all the challenges coming from all directions for every business and every entrepreneur, they almost have to evolve through different seasons and challenge, periods of uncertainty, moments where things feel challenging, times where it feels like progress has halted and everything needs to be rethought. Now, those moments are never signs that something is wrong. So I want you to pause that thought in your head. You've done nothing wrong. You are pivoting and evolving to the world and the landscape around you. The signs now are is that Sensei is evolving. We're getting ready for the next big season. We're doing the big pivot, reacting to the world around us. Not that you've done wrong. No, we're actually bigger than that. We're thinking ahead. We've got business strategy. We realise that, the world is growing. Our consumers are changing. How they shop is changing. What they're looking for is changing. And we are moving with them. So growth in what we do rarely happens in a straight line. It twists, it turns. You've seen all the wee memes with the wee squiggly lines. It demands patience. So even though sometimes we are forced to do this big pause and reevaluate, we are rebuilding the strength we need, those deep roots that means with every prevailing wind, we grow and adapt. We're not rocked. We're not going to fall over. So when you don't see the growth on top, know that you're growing down deep inside, building those roots. Because rebuilding is never failure. Rebuilding is refinement. We are refining, we are reflecting, and we are adapting to the direction of the winds in our current storm. And that is powerful. And take a moment to realize what that means for you. That means you're determined and you're strong and you're bringing that toolbox you've already built. Now, a lot of people walk away when things get uncomfortable. Plenty of people give up when it stops being easy. Plenty of people want the business but put in like a hobby. You're at this pivotal moment where you get to decide what is meaningful to me in my life. Can I dig deep? Am I bigger? Am I stronger? Am I adjusting my sales? Am I ready to grow? Because that's what's happening right now, right at this moment. Look at Lisa and Laura and all the ones going to the gym. Sometimes when you work hard, it hurts after. You feel the burn, right? But you know it's something good that is happening. So don't stop growing, because what you're experiencing right now isn't the end of your progress. Actually, this is your deepest, biggest moment of growth. The strongest businesses are never built during the easy moments. They're built during the difficult ones. The moments where you question, the moments where you refine your strategy, the moments where you decide, what am I going to build now? What matters most? Where is my greatest strength? Because every business has these chapters. It's not a sign you're failing. It's a rite of passage. And some of us have been through it several times over. Because I am now in my 15th year at Sensei, which is hard to believe. And along the way, there has been exploration and growth and self-development. But equally, still to this day, there are days of imposter syndrome. There are days when I feel I'm not good enough, I can't bring enough, I don't know what I have to offer, I feel like I fall short. And I'm sharing this with you because sometimes we forget the humanity behind the journey. Social media, we see the shiny windows, the big efforts, the posts, the achievements, the celebrations. But ask yourself, do you see the sacrifice, the setbacks, the obstacles, the tears, and all those challenges that people quietly work through every single day? So when you feel like this, for a moment, instead of looking around, I want you to look inward. And I have learned this the hard way. This week alone, you've probably already overcome more than you realise. Maybe you felt insecure, but you still tried. Maybe you just felt exhausted, but you still showed up. Maybe you had doubts, but you still posted. Maybe you didn't know what to do next, but you're here tonight. That matters. Success isn't built on perfect conditions. I don't know how I define success because it's ever evolving. Some days it's just surviving, some days it's showing up, some days it's sharing, but all of it is built on courage, especially in the middle of uncertainty. The one thing in this world, and I look at my husband and his job, and the overtime and the hours he puts in, he'll never leapfrog his boss. He'll never get that wage increase that will match his boss or take him past it. Now, that's a world where certainty is that just won't happen. In our world, if we put the effort in, if we take control, if we decide our goals and focus on them, we can get the pay rise, we can get the paycheck, we can make the difference, we can change our world. So in these moments, the only certainty you've got is what you do and the action you take. And my challenge to you, friends, and the thing that has truly helped me in all of this is every month make a plan. Week by week, what PRV do I want? But more so, how am I going to get it? What actions do I need to take? Because I control my destiny, but my destiny depends on action. And the great thing about a plan is it evolves with you. And I get to know if I've fallen off the wagon early in a month because I see where I am versus my plan, because I make sure every week has an action plan with numbers I want to achieve, with sample packs I want out, with contacts I want to make, with goals that I feel will impact where I am right now. I know the routes I need to build. I know the wins that's coming. So how can I adapt and grow with it? Well, I get to choose, and so do you. We are in control of that destiny. Plan. And the reason I urge you to make a plan and the reason it stood me in such good stead is this. If you don't want to call it a business plan, call it journaling. I keep them and I have a recipe book now. And I look back over the years and when I have felt low, or when I have found my toughest months, or when I have felt my mojo low or my imposter syndrome high, or I have felt I have nothing to give this month, I look back at my recipe book and I say, what did I do when I felt like this? And I have found the sweet spots in my recipes. And I know how to lift myself out the dark holes. And I know the good things to do when my customers aren't reacting and how I might change my approach or do something fun. I keep my recipe book. And I urge you to do the same. Don't see business planning as a chore. See it as investing in yourself to find your sweet spot recipe book of success that you can call upon in every month from here to forever. It will always serve you well. So don't be afraid to write down ideas or say how they go or how you were feeling, because all of that will help you build and grow. I'm just watching my time. So lastly, as we move into a new month, remind yourself of this. You already have so many of the skills you already need for success. You already have so much resilience. You're still here, friends. You're still battling, you're still giving it your all, and you've still got hunger. And you've still got that determination to succeed. Trust that. Back yourself and keep going. The only sure bet you've got in all of this, we can't control tariffs, we can't control the world, we can't control all of the external. You can control you. You are always one step away from your next success. Keep going.
That's phenomenal, Joe. Over to you, Lindsay. Follow Joe,
All of
Lindsay.
that. Thanks. Thanks for that. Keep my watch my time, guys. Watch my time. Okay. Okay, my turn. Joanne, absolutely phenomenal as always. I want to start with a little story. I learned a story from my 3-year-old daughter. She's now 15, but I remember she was 3 years old. We were going to walk. I think it was like Easter time or something like that. And we went, and there's a really dodgy road. We call it go into labour road because it's got that many bumps in it, it would put you into labour. And I used to go when I wanted my children out. So it's literally 5 minutes walk from where we are. So one day we were going to walk. My whole family was there. My sister was there, the nieces, the nephews. My mum was there. Loads of us were there. And I had a 3-year-old stubborn daughter who was determined she was doing something. So we're walking along, and my niece has a wee tricycle, a wee bike. It's got no stabiliser. She's literally away. She's 6 months older than Rebecca. So Rebecca sees this and she says, I would like to ride that bike. And I said, Rebecca, you're not even 3, darling. I says, we don't have any stabilisers. She went, I'm going to ride the bike, mum. Right, okay, darling. So I'm like that with the hands round about her, like making sure on this dodgy road, but she was determined that she was doing it. And honestly, without a word of a lie, sat on the bike, feet in the pedals, and away she went. I've never seen anything like it. I was absolutely gobsmacked. And I learned a very important lesson that day. Okay, so in life, there is 2 things. We've got will and skill. And if you have enough will in your heart to do something, you will do it. And she proved me wrong big time. So in our business, it's really important to have will because sometimes you don't have to have the skill. But if you've got that will and determination to be a really good leader and to start from scratch and be a leader, you can do it. Because obviously a 3-year-old girl taught me that a very long time ago. So remember that will is so important. I want to speak a wee bit about something that I taught in LDU. Obviously, Lisa and Laura have just done the course recently. It's not called LDU, but obviously when I done it, it was called LDU. And it's the story of the starving baker, okay? So what happens is there is this baker, and it's like the best baker in town. You go in and this baker will serve you. He bakes all the cakes. He serves all the people that come in. He takes the money. He literally does everything, and it's a phenomenal place to be. So busy, lots of people go. But what they start to find is this starving baker. When they look at him, they realise he's becoming very, very thin. He's very, very tired because he's doing all the things. Now, I can relate to this sometimes as a leader because sometimes I do too much, and that's what I don't want you guys to do, and I don't want us to do that as well. And that's how tonight we're sharing the load, okay? So the starving baker, unfortunately, became very, very thin because he wasn't looking after himself, okay? And what I want to speak to you about is looking after yourself because I personally hit burnout a couple of years ago because I'd done too much. I'd done far too much, and to the point where I was thinking, oh my goodness, I don't think I can do this again. I was having so much time, enjoying my time off with my family, and it came to January, and I actually had a panic attack thinking, I don't think I can do this anymore. But I remember going on my first WAM, and I seen all those beautiful faces coming on, and we had a chat, and it just changed everything. And I was like, I can do this again. So sometimes you don't realise, but your support and you're just seeing your faces and hearing your voices just make a big difference. And I know it's hard sometimes as a leader, if you do things and you post things and you're not getting that response, sometimes you can take that to heart. But I'll never forget that first time I went on WAM. I feel quite emotional thinking about it. And I'm thinking, I don't think MD's going to turn up. I don't think MD will turn up tonight. And I honestly was absolutely gobsmacked when I seen all these faces. And it melted my heart. It really, really melted my heart. So don't be like the starving baker, okay? Don't do all the things. Like, lean on people. I've got friends here who we share the loads. We help each other. You've got people in this business that will help you. We will help you as well. Know that you are not alone. It's really important to know that you're not alone. Very important. So once you get to a point where you feel you are full, you're not starving, and you're ready to feed others. I had the opportunity today to help a teamie, and it feels amazing. It really, really does feel amazing to be able to go and help somebody who is struggling in their business, sitting down with them, taking the time, and just helping them with a simple problem that she had. And it was lovely catching up with her, and just that's the joy of being a leader, is helping your team. It's just the best feeling in the world. And you might not have a team just now, or you might have a small team just now, or you might feel that you're not getting the response that obviously you would like, but there is one person that you will be impacting that you don't actually know. And that's incredible. See, when you get a wee message from somebody in your inbox, or a voicemail, or a wee card through the door, just to let you know that somebody actually, you make a difference with that one person. So do it for the one. Do it for the one, no matter what. That's what I would say. With regards to doing things as well, like we're talking about like learning things and doing things. I actually got a message from my son today. So I've got three children. I don't know if he's know this, but I've got three children. I've got an older boy at 21, Ben, and I've got a middle boy, Luke, at 18, and I've got my daughter, Rebecca, at 15. And I'm right into cooking just now, right? I've never been a cook, but Fraser's auntie's come back from Australia and she started to teach me some recipes. And I made a beautiful salad today. And honestly, my son sent me a message to say, Mum, that was absolutely fantastic. And honestly, I was like, what the heck? So it was just beautiful just to get that wee bit of love to say, Mum, I recognise that you've done something, and it was so, so good. And I've learned to make tacos and all these different things. Also, I seen a beautiful post today. I don't know if she's on, she might not be on. So there's a lady in my downline called Anya O'Reilly. She's Irish. She's amazing, absolutely amazing. And she posted, because I want to speak to you a wee bit about personal development. This is what this is about, because I don't want you guys to be starving. And what you need to do is do your personal development. I would say that's why I'm successful in this business, and that's how my success is come, because I have always fed myself. Okay, so I seen this post and I thought, this is amazing. And I want you to think it's so easy to do. So she's written, midweek slump anyone, 5 minutes a day. That's all it takes to show up for your business. 5 minutes would schedule 2 posts for the next day. 5 minutes would make a quick video changing your wax. 5 minutes would add to your story a quick lifestyle photo. 5 minutes would hand out a new catalogue to a stranger. 5 minutes to send 2 personal messages offering the opportunity of the March digital kit for customers. What would you do in 5 minutes a day to see huge changes by the end of the month? I thought, wow, that's absolutely amazing. So she is an inspiration, like she really, really is. So Anya doesn't even know probably that I've seen that. Do you know what I mean? She probably hasn't known that I've seen that, but I do. I watch people who are leading gently and quietly from behind, and they just do away in the background, and it's just so lovely to see that. So Anya, I don't know if you're on, but I'm really, really proud of you for doing that. It's a beautiful thing, and it's so true. That's what I want you guys to do. You've invested tonight. You're here. You're giving up 40 minutes of your time to come and listen to leaders, and I really, really want you just to, if there's anything I'd say take away from that, is really, really take the time to self-develop. These girls will tell you it makes such a difference. I remember how you felt when you finished LDU after those grueling, it was 10 weeks to start off with, then 7 weeks. But you guys did it, and you qualified, and you had a big celebration, and it was absolutely fantastic. That was you that did that, and it was little things every single day. And that's all it takes, small things. I'm going to read what I've written, because sometimes it's better because I don't do things off the top of my head. So I've just written a wee thing down here. It says, the power of starting small. Leaders, can we talk about something that quietly changes everything in your business? Personal development. Not the overwhelming kind where you feel like you need to read 10 books, listen to 5 podcasts, and wake up at 4 a.m. every morning. That's definitely not me. I'm talking about starting small. Just 10 minutes a day. Anya said 5. 5 is fine. I'm okay with that. Compromise. A few pages of a book, 1 podcast on a school run, a short training while making dinner. But here's the truth. The leaders who grow the most develop themselves the most. Your business will only ever grow to the level that you grow. Not overnight, not in huge leaps, but on tiny daily steps that compound over time. One day you look back and realise your confidence has grown. Your belief has deepened, your leadership feels stronger, and your team feels it too. Your team doesn't need a perfect leader. That's really important. I actually get goosebumps. I'm getting emotional. Right, come on, behave. They need a growing leader, someone who is learning, someone who is stretching, someone who is willing to become the next version of themselves. So this week, I want to challenge you to commit to 10 minutes a day of personal development. A book, a podcast, a training, something that feeds your mind and lifts your belief. Small seeds grow into stronger trees. Joanne's just touched on that. And the leader you are becoming will shape the future of your team in ways you can't even see yet. Let's grow together. I'm very grateful for the opportunity I had to speak to you. I know I waffle a wee bit, but just remember that 3-year-old child who had the will, and that's what it starts with. It's just will. If you've got will to do something, you don't need the skill. Sometimes people are blessed with both, but will is the most important thing. And if you're willing to set aside 10 minutes a day to yourself, to self-development, I promise you, you will see the results. That's all it takes. I see it with the people that come onto WAM. I do. I see it all the time. I see the people that show up and learn new skills. Like Joanne obviously taught about Canva recently. I'm going to name and shame Margaret Robinson. Sorry, I know you're on, but I can see your confidence growing because you're taking on board and you're doing the things. Tracy Gordon's another one. I don't think Tracy's on, but I see when people put things into place. Rachel Matthews, who obviously done Joanne's course, when you guys do things like the follow-up system, I see obviously the difference that it makes. So it really does, it helps for you to do personal development, guys, and you're doing it tonight. And I'm going to shut up and pass the time over now. That's me, I'm done.
I love it because it's going to lead on really nicely into what I'm going to talk about. So, because I can honestly say, guys, I loved all of that, by the way, Lindsay, and I could just imagine Rebecca on that bike. I'm just going to say, like, I can just imagine the face, and that I'm doing it because I know how stubborn she can be. So, I love it. And every time I think now, when I get a challenge, I'm going to think about the bike. Honestly, that is going to sit with me for a really long time. So, thank you. I love like listening to Lindsay talk about personal development. I know that personal development people can say there's two types, isn't there? And you've got very much like you've got business development and then you've got personal development in developing the person. And I can honestly say that I'm more of a business development person. Like I want to learn all the sensey things. I want to watch all the YouTube trainings, all of the trainings that everybody does. And that honestly is the game changer or has been the game changer for my business since day one. Like Laura will tell you, I have rang her many a times, driving her absolutely potty, excited down the phone. You've got to watch this training. And she was like, Lise, whoa, like rewind. But they were the things that literally built my business when I was growing my business at the very beginning without even realizing what I was doing. A lot of it come from literally tapping into what's on YouTube. There is still loads on there, guys. And sometimes you just have got to give yourself those moments to really go into that personal development, especially as a leader. If you've got a team, you want to be the one that's messaging them saying, oh my God, like I've just watched this training, like guys, you need to watch this. And if you're not getting the response from your team, message your upline like I used to Laura, I used to Joe, I've done it to Lindsay. They've all had messages from me where I'm like, guys, you've got to watch this training. It's so good because honestly, if you can be like a sponge in this business, that is going to lead you into where the motivation is going to come from, and it's going to be where the action is going to come from. Because generally, like we don't all feel motivated every single day, right? I certainly don't. I have found in the last probably year, Lindsay talking about hit and burnout, I've probably felt that in the last year, probably more so than I have realized. And I didn't really realize that that was happening to me until the end of last year, when suddenly I was feeling like my creativity had disappeared and I felt very like I was struggling. And I have struggled in the Scentsy world, which is unlike me because I've always been somebody that's been able to pioneer and been happily leading at the front and doing all of those things. And when you suddenly go from being that person, that imposter syndrome, like Joe talked about, really, really kicks in. And that is where I've had days where my motivation has been at my lowest because I'm thinking, well, I've lost my creativity. Maybe I've lost the buzz for this. Maybe I'm just not cut out to do this anymore. All of those little thoughts creep into your mind. And I can honestly say, the thing that normally gets me back on track is going to watch some sort of training. This is why I probably I'm such a pain in people's backsides when I'm like, let's all do a group training. And it is because I know the impact that it can have if people actually show up and watch these trainings, even if they're watching them back. Like, I don't have an issue with that. I've watched many a trainings that weren't live, but it genuinely is where my motivation and where the action comes from. With every personal training video that you watch, book that you read, if you can give yourself 5 to 10 minutes of action based on what you've learned, that is where your motivation is going to come from, because motivation comes from action. It's like a vicious circle. When people say to me, give me a kick up the bum, I need more motivation, genuinely it's going to come from you actually taking the action. And whether that's watching the training, whether that's, you know, messaging 10 customers to get a borrow bag out, or, you know, spending some time doing follow-ups. And actually, you know, for me, I have had these sample boxes sitting half made for such a long time, and yesterday I was like, I just need to sit and actually take action, make the samples to go in them, print off all the paperwork that I've already got on my Canva already, and I just need to print them and get them sent out. And today I made a point of doing it, messaged all of those people. And do you know what? When they start messaging me back and saying, oh my God, I'm really excited to get these samples, now I'm like, why didn't I do this like 5 weeks ago? And I could have had these people have been waiting for these boxes. What a crap customer I am, a consultant I am. And now, but they're going out tomorrow, and I've had a lovely conversation with them. But genuinely, I now feel motivated to do that again, because I've taken action, and I'm now like, oh, what am I going to do tomorrow? What's my action going to be tomorrow? And that leads us really nicely into like having a growth mindset around all of these type of things. And I know these things have all been touched on, but I wrote down a few things that are going to help you, especially with the changes. Like, you're seeing a lot of changes happening right now. Like, we can't hide from it. We can't sit here and say there's not changes happening. Scentsy is literally going through like a roller coaster, and we've got different things happening all the time. I love it because I'm a pivoter, but I know not everybody feels that way. Some people feel like, okay, there's a change coming in. I need to get this in my mind. I need to what's the word? Catastrophize it a little bit, you know, think about what might be the worst case scenario. And all of these things, this is where we are getting a real opportunity right now to work on growing our mindset, growing that growth mindset, you know, where that motivation and that action is going to come from. So just a few things that I wrote down, which I want you to think about as leaders. Reframing your failures as learning opportunities and then becoming a chapter. I say this to my team quite often, especially those that are leaders, right? Because you've got all these amazing team members, that whether you've got one team member or 20. Sorry, someone's at my front door. my Alexa's talking to me, if you can hear that. And what happens in our business is sometimes we ask somebody to join our team, or we follow up with that person and we get a no, or we you know, send out those samples and someone doesn't like it, or maybe they've had a warmer that's broken and you feel like that's on me. All of these different things. All of these things sometimes we can think of as failures. We can be like, you know what, they said no. I'm never going to ask someone to join again because they've said no. I'm never going to do that again. Like, I'm clearly not very good at recruiting. You've got to see all these things as the chapters in your story. You've got to be able to see that actually, the more I do these things, it's going to reduce the fear, but also it's a learning opportunity for what did I not do as well that time? Was it that I didn't ask? Did I write too many things in the message? Did I make the message a little bit wordy rather than just saying, have you ever considered joining Scentsy? Did I get a little bit, you know, there is always a learning from every single failure. And I'm certain if I asked you all to write a failure that you've had in your Scentsy business in the last month, all of us can think of failures. We normally struggle to think of things that we're good at, right? And you could easily tell me something that you haven't done very well. And then I would ask you to really think about, but what did you learn from it? Because that's where resilience comes from, and that's where this thick skin comes from, that as you grow as a leader, you're going to need, and every single one of you can grow that. Some of the other things that I just wrote down were seeing, a bit like Lindsay talked about, challenges as opportunities. Like, I often, if I don't know how to do something, Facebook parties at the minute are my nemesis. I've created this beautiful mock party. I've got this wonderful, all the good intention in the world, but something just doesn't seem to be sticking at the minute. But I don't see that as, well, I'm not going to do that. My thing as a leader is I want to learn how to do that so that I can share with my team what worked, but more importantly, what didn't work. Because me learning from my own failures is going to help my team in turn as my team grows and as my team gets bigger. Because I can be like, well, that didn't work very well for me, but why don't you try it this way? Because that is a leadership skill in itself. So if you can find things in your business that stepping outside that comfort zone, like some form of partying, asking people to party, asking people to join your team, doing those follow-ups with that scary customer that you're like, oh, I don't know whether I want to send that message. I don't want to be like bothering them. Learning how to email or use Canva, like Lindsay talked about earlier. All of those things, if you can see them as challenges, as opportunities, sorry, as opposed to a big hurdle and a big challenge, it can honestly change your business because you start to see things in the positive as opposed to seeing the negative all the time. And that's what having a growth mindset is all about. And that is where our culture is going to change. Because when you start seeing things as, I haven't quite got there yet, as opposed to, I can't do that. Or, okay, well, something's just changed within, I'm trying to think of something off the top of my head and all the things that have changed. And now my brain it's gone. But something's just changed within Scentsy. How do I look at that and say, okay, I think I can make this work. How can I make this work? Like, as opposed to saying, well, this is a load of rubbish. This isn't gonna impact me. I can't think. My brain is just literally, it's just been taken out. And then the last thing I just want to leave you with is the thought process of being inspired but not comparing. I think the biggest hurdle that I see for most leaders in Scentsy and any network marketing in any business and in life, actually, just I think it happens with women in general as well, is to try to be inspired by people as opposed to comparing their journey. You don't know what their journey looks like. You don't know how many hours behind the scene people are putting in. I can tell you now that there isn't anybody in this business that has just woke up suddenly with a team of 1,000 people and a raving business overnight. That has come from hours and grueling hard work. That has come from putting in the miles. Like they've got, everybody that has done that has got receipts. I'm telling you that now. They have got receipts that are very, very long, like those ones that you get at Christmas at Sainsbury's. Okay, and it is because they have used all these grown a growth mindset. They've used all of the failures to become those opportunities, and they have decided that it's always a not yet as opposed to I can't do that. And that is really the secret sauce. If you can be inspired by people that are flying in this business and learn from them and not compare yourself to say, well, I can't do that like they do it. Well, you don't need to, because every single person on this call is a unique individual and you all bring something very unique to the table. And everyone on here, your time will come. It's just everybody's garden will grow at a slightly different rate. That's all I've got for you.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay, it's my turn. And I am last, and I apologize anyone that knows me and knows I can talk for a long time, so I will try and condense it into 10 minutes. Because I've actually made some notes. However, a lot of the things that the girls have already said tonight, which have been phenomenal, I just need to add. So thank you so much. I'm like always grateful to train with you all, but honestly, it's been amazing. I have sat here as a participant just listening, and then all of a sudden I went, oh my God, I've got to talk. I've got to talk now. So there are going to be a few overlaps, which we knew would happen because the topic this evening was obviously mindset, and we were sharing this from our own perspective. And this is probably going to be a little bit different from previous mindset trainings that I've done, because everything that the girls have said tonight is totally spot on. Especially what really resonated with myself was what Lindsay said about, and Lace, and obviously Joe, there's been things I've written down throughout the night, but people talk about like personal development and doing other things, and it's not loads of big things, it's not loads of massive things. And I vividly remember, and if any of you have ever seen my posts that I share in like the director sharing group or even on my social media, like it'll be a screenshot of a picture of a book, because I remember being like out walking the dog one. And do you know what's really it's just come back into my mind, Lindsay, actually, and this is literally stuck in my brain because Dan would always laugh. So we were away at a caravan park, and you had arranged for Bob Bob, what's his Bob? Yeah, and we were walking the dog, but I had him in my ears, and we were literally away, and I was going, oh my God, I got to share this with my team. Oh my God, and he was like, Laura, just take a breath. You're literally like, your head is going to explode. But that is so true. And part of leadership is looking after you first and sharing that with your team. But it doesn't need to be massive things. That's just to kind of reiterate and back up what the girl said. That's putting your AirPods in while you're out walking the dog, or it's reading one page of a book. And I totally can add to that as well. I didn't have any leadership experience when I started Cincy. I can be like an excited little puppy and talk about wax bars all day long, but leading a team, I had no idea. But what I will say is, I'm kind of coming into my notes now. Your team are watching what you do, or your prospective team members are watching what you do. So to be a leader, you need to work your business. That is the first thing. You need to work your business and you need to share it with your team, and keeping like simplicity always. But what I actually want to talk to you about is about resilience, and about the fact that nobody in this life is exempt from challenges. Every single person, very much like Lisa has said, anyone that's had success in Cincy has been through it. They might not always share everything publicly. And I am a very positive person, but very similar to the girls have said, I've had a lot of things going on in the last couple of years. Most recently, my mum passed away in January. Oh God, I don't think I was going to get upset. Actually, it's okay. And it's actually okay to get upset, because throughout that, I said this to my husband, had I not been a Cincy consultant, I don't actually know how I would have got through it. I don't actually know, without this business and the people surrounding me and everybody that gave me that strength when I didn't have it within myself. That is what Cincy is about. So what you need to remember is, even on your really hardest days, I am gonna move on from that, because I didn't want to make it all about that. But obviously that's my personal experience in the last few months, amongst like everyone's got things. But even on your darkest days, even when you have challenges, even when you literally don't know how you're gonna get dressed that day, like, even lean into Cincy, because it's just so special and it's just so powerful. And when you do that and you overcome these challenges and you show up, your team will see you doing that as well. And then that ripple effect will start to share. So what I'm saying is, it doesn't mean you have to be constantly on it 24 hours a day, but it means you need to be consistent. And what will start to happen, much like a muscle, much like Joe said about going to the gym, the more you do these things, the more you live with optimism, and my dog's barking at something. The more you live with optimism and having, even on your hardest days, it doesn't, I've written down here, so you can't always have a good day. Not everyone's going to have a good day every day, but you can choose to find the joy in those good days. And then the more you do that, it will multiply. And it's almost, sorry, one second. Out. Sorry, I know what that is. There's a fox in the garden. You almost need to have a little bit of delusion. Now, I'm sure there's people over my years have told me I'm delusional. It's okay, I'll take that. But there is an author that I follow called Case Kenny, and I've read his books and I've listened to his podcast, and I recommend that you all go follow him on Instagram. And I actually found one of his posts that I want to read to you, because it says delusional optimism is the cheat code in life, and neuroscience proves it. So this isn't actually woo-woo, because, I love a bit of woo-woo. What Lisa was saying earlier about how when we would ring each other, I would be ringing her with all the woo, these ones, and she'd be going, yeah, but you need to listen to this because this is actually a business podcast. And I'd be like, okay, we'll do a bit of both. But actually, it's neuroscience. You can actually rewire your brain to, much like a muscle in your body, you can actually rewire your brain to find the joy, to find those positive things. And the more that you do it, I didn't know any of this before I started Cincy, until I started reading these books and listening to these podcasts, but it literally interests me and excites me so much. And I honestly believe that is the tool that has got me through the last 3 months, 6 months, a year. So I'm going to just read it. Delusional optimism is the cheat code in life. It is being completely unreasonable about how good your life is going to get and speaking it into existence. Words don't just describe your reality, they shape it. Research shows that language affects what you notice, remember, and believe is possible. So sorry, my son's at the front door. Can one of you pick up for like 30 seconds while I go let him in? It's all right. I promise I will come back because he stood out in the dark and Dan put Vinny to bed.
Oh, flip, what have I done? I'll share a quick analogy because it's in the background and I can see it. So I used to kill plants all the time. Like I could not keep a plant. Hence the fact I've actually got crochet plants. I'll show you. So this was used to be in my windowsill because I could not keep a plant for love nor money. I got this when I was in Ireland on a retreat. So somebody bought me an orchid. I actually can't remember who it was. And basically, I didn't know, but see when orchids shed, they go really, really ugly. Like they're just like, it's just green. There's nothing. There's no flowers. And I was going to chuck it, and I just had a feeling, just keep it, Lindsay. Just keep it. So I've had this for 3 years now. Wait till you see the size of this bad boy. Look at that. So, like leaders, sometimes we feel a bit rubbish and we think we are doing absolutely nothing. And all of a sudden, just a wee bit of TLC, a wee bit of personal development, and boom, look at that bad boy. So
I love that you've used an orchid because actually Lisa Allwood bought me an orchid when I first moved back, and I rang my dad who loves plants and flowers, and I said, Dad, like I've killed it, like the plants have all fallen off, and he went, No, you've got to keep it because it will reflower, and I didn't know that either. So look
So
at
it
that.
pays off, even when they look ugly without the flowers, it pays off. And every time it comes out, the flowers are a different colour. Like they add white, but it's like a different white. And like the wee bits inside are different as well. So Laura, sorry, there you go.
No, don't apologise. Thank you for saving me. But this is why he's nearly 15 and he's got a key, but never takes it anyway. But yeah, so what I was saying was the author was called Case Kenny. But his Instagram, he's always sharing quotes and stuff. But I absolutely love that. So it's actual neuroscience. This isn't just woo-woo. This isn't just like, we're just saying this. If you actually train yourself, we're not saying don't feel your feelings. It's so important if you are feeling something to feel it. You've got to cry. You've got to let it out. You've got to talk to a friend. You've got to go to the gym. You've got to do whatever you need to do to deal with it. Like that's really important. Don't hold it in. But know that you can get through it and you can almost like your brain will believe what you tell it, what you focus on, you feed. So you are so capable of knowing that if you're feeling something, like we've all felt it. There's not one person in Sensi that is exempt from hard days and from challenges. And there are people who have achieved phenomenal things in this business. That have been through things like that we could never imagine, but they keep going. And it's keeping doing the reps. It's not the big crazy things, it's the small consistent habits that you do over and over. I love the saying, find the magic in the mundane, because when you find the magic in the mundane, the things that you do over and over and over. And there's a YouTube video that I shared with my team years ago, and I'll sporadically just share it again and again and again and again. I just so many towel, bless him. Again and again about the bamboo tree, and basically when the bamboos are planted, the farmer keeps like watering them for years and years and years, and then they're like year 1 nothing, year 2 nothing, year 3, and then on like the 5th or 6th year, all of a sudden these bamboo trees shoot to the sky, and they're just these beautiful big trees. And every now and again I will reshare that, and it is exactly the same in your business. And I sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, and I probably have got lots of delusional optimism in me because it's just, I've been a Sense consultant for nearly 10 years now, so it's in. But I love it. I love that is what Scentsy does to us. So have that delusional optimism, and I know in my heart of hearts, I trust Heidi Norville just as these girls do, implicitly. And I just know that the people that stick it out, the people that do the reps, the people that keep going, even on the hard days, even when you feel like you've got nothing else to give, just keep going. And I know in my heart of hearts, those people will be so grateful that they did. And I just, yeah, that's it, really. Everything that I was going to say, you've all said so beautifully. So, yeah, just have a little bit of delusional optimism and just understand, like everyone goes through things. Everyone's human. Everyone has hard days, but you are so wildly capable if you just don't quit.
Laura, you're awesome.
Love that.
Can I just say one thing on that? Whilst we all talk about us and the Scentsy world evolving, and those are things we can't control. When I started with Scentsy, we had like an 8-page catalogue. We had literally some wax and a few warmers, not many, and we had to fit plugs ourselves on every single warmer. So you got the UK plug and we had to fit them and put them back in the box and deliver them. There was no UK Facebook group. We had no manager here at all. We had literally nothing. And at that time, I remember us thinking, how can this survive? So from the barren lands that were with nothing to where we are now, with all the support and infrastructure, we can overcome anything now.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And Joe, you told us the story that like people thought you were actually selling them like wax, like body wax.
Yeah.
So in the very early days, like
That story sticks with
I
me.
had
Me
to
too.
get started, I would use the Yellow Pages because there wasn't really many businesses that had Facebook pages. So I would look up the Yellow Pages to get names of businesses. You probably don't even know what Yellow Pages are. And then I would go online and see if they had a website, because not all businesses had a website way back then. And then I would arrange a free trial. So one of them was in this very posh beauty salon in Glasgow city centre, and I tripped in, got myself like, with total imposter syndrome, thinking, oh my God, what do I say, what will I do? And I met the manager and I told her, and she was really keen. She thought this was fabulous. She'd never heard of anything like it. Her insurance wouldn't allow candles. She'd constantly been struggling to find something. So I made this beautiful little book. I told her all about it. I still remember it was sweet pea and vanilla. All was great. Went home super proud to get a phone call about 8 o'clock that night, with a bit of a panic, that she had left the office for the afternoon. Her junior had come in, not read it all, saw this and thought it was new wax and attempted a bikini wax. And I got a phone call to ask my best advice on getting it out of hair in nether regions. Having never experienced this myself, I had to somewhat say, well, it melts just above body temperature. You could possibly try, like, I don't know, hot, like, face cloths on it, or a hairdryer, or brush it out. So safe to say it became a very strong selling point because the woman wasn't actually burned. I'm sure she smelled wonderful. I hope she didn't react to it. I never asked to see.
Best story to finish on. Absolutely brilliant.
Amazing.
Absolutely brilliant. All right, guys, we really hope you've enjoyed this. Next month we will do it again. New topics, and if there's anything in particular you would like trained on, then get in contact as well. Let us know, like, if there's things in particular. But we hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you're feeling the community. Thank you all so much for your time as well. I will upload the recording to YouTube as long as the girls are all happy with that, and you can go back and watch it at your leisure anytime you like. So we will take care.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.